The accused Viking stands before the assembly. Every man, woman, and child in the community has gathered. The air is thick with tension. The accused warrior, once respected, once feared, kneels in the center. He knows what's coming. He'd almost prefer they just kill him. Then the pronouncement Nidingur, or Nithing, the unman, the socially dead. From the old Icelandic dictionary, villain, scoundrel, vile wretch, apostate. In that moment, something worse than death occurs. He doesn't die physically. His heart still beats. His lungs still draw breath. But in every way that matters to a Viking, he ceases to exist. No one will trade with him. No one will shelter him. No one will speak his name, except as a curse. His children will carry the stain. His wife may leave him to avoid the shame. If someone kills him, it's not murder, it's mercy. No compensation owed, no blood feud declared. He is alive, but he is nothing. To modern ears, this sounds dramatic, extreme. A relic of a primitive culture that placed too much value on what others thought. But the Vikings understood something we're relearning in the age of social media, viral cancellations, and digital permanence. There are fates worse than death, and social death is one of them. Today, you're going to understand why Vikings feared reputation collapse more than the battlefield. More importantly, you're going to learn what this teaches us about the modern landscape, where your reputation can be destroyed in seconds, where social exile happens at the speed of a tweet, and where the ancient logic of the Nidingur has returned with algorithmic precision. This isn't just history. This is survival knowledge for the world you're living in right now. Understanding Nidingur, the ultimate punishment. In Old Norse society, Nidingur was the absolute lowest status a person could hold. The word itself is complex. It combines the concept of social pollution, cowardice, unmanliness, and existential worthlessness. To be declared Nidingur meant you had committed an act so shameful, so contrary to the social code, that you could no longer be considered part of human society. You were utangarder, outside the fence, beyond the boundary of civilization. Common reasons for this status included oath-breaking. Your word was your bond. Breaking a sworn oath didn't just make you unreliable, it made you fundamentally untrustworthy, someone who had violated the basic social contract. Betrayal of kin or comrades, killing a family member through treachery, abandoning your brothers in battle, turning on those who trusted you, sexual violations that broke fundamental taboos, particularly those that involved deception or betrayal of hospitality, acts of profound cowardice. Not just fleeing from battle, but fleeing in ways that endangered others or violated the warrior code. Notice something crucial. These weren't crimes against law. They were crimes against the social fabric itself. You could kill someone in a fair fight and maintain honor. You could even kill someone in a dispute and pay compensation, but break the fundamental trust that held society together. There was no coming back from that. Here's what modern people often miss. For Vikings, death in battle was glorious. It was the preferred ending. Die with a weapon in your hand, your honor intact, and you'd feast in Valhalla with the Einherjar, the honored dead. Physical death, done right, was a transition to something better. It was an ending, yes, but an honorable one. Your name lived on. Your deeds were remembered. Your family carried your legacy with pride. Social death offered none of that. The Nidingur lived, but he lived as a ghost. Worse, he lived knowing that his existence was a burden and a shame. Every day was a reminder that he had failed at the most fundamental level, maintaining his place in human society. His children knew their father was worthless. His wife knew she had bound herself to nothing. Anyone who showed him kindness risked contamination. Being associated with the socially dead could drag you down with them. And there was no redemption, no path back, no forgiveness protocol. Once you were declared Nidinger, that status was permanent. Even if you fled to another land, the reputation traveled. The Viking world was interconnected through trade, raiding, and kinship networks. Your shame followed you. Physical death ends suffering. Social death made suffering your permanent state. The process of becoming Nidinger was formalized and public. This wasn't casual gossip or personal vendetta. It was communal judgment. Accusations were brought before the council, the assembly where legal and social matters were decided. Evidence was presented. Witnesses testified. The accused could defend themselves. But if the judgment went against you, the pronouncement was absolute and binding on everyone present. This was crucial. It wasn't just that one person thought you were worthless. The entire community agreed, formally and publicly. After the declaration, specific mechanisms enforced your social death. Economic isolation. No one could trade with you. This meant you couldn't buy food, couldn't sell goods, couldn't engage in the economic activities necessary for survival. Physical exile. You were often given a set time to leave the territory, sometimes as little as days. Remaining beyond that deadline meant you could be killed on sight without legal consequence. Legacy contamination. Your name became a warning. Parents would tell your story to children as an example of what never to become. Poets would compose nidvisur, insult poems that immortalized your shame. Spiritual exclusion. You might be excluded from religious rites, from burial in consecrated ground, from participation in the sacred aspects of community life. The system was designed to make continued existence unbearable. Most Nidinger either fled to exile and probable death in unfamiliar lands, or chose death over the prolonged suffering of social non-existence. Now let's talk about why this matters today. Because we're watching the return of social death in real time, wearing new clothes but following ancient logic. In the digital age, reputation can be destroyed instantly and permanently. A single screenshot, a resurfaced old post, an accusation, true or false, can trigger a cascade of social exile that mirrors the Nidinger status, almost perfectly. Economic isolation. People lose jobs, lose clients, lose business opportunities. Banks have closed accounts. Payment processors have denied service. The modern equivalent of "no one will trade with you" is algorithmic and corporate, but just as effective. Social exile. People are removed from platforms, blocked en masse, excluded from communities they've been part of for years. Their former friends publicly disavow them to avoid contamination. Legacy contamination. Google never forgets. Your crime becomes the first thing anyone sees when they search your name. Forever. Articles, screenshots, commentary, all preserved in digital amber, defining you permanently. No redemption protocol. Just like the Nidinger, there's often no clear path back. Apologies are called insufficient. Time doesn't heal the wound. The stain is considered permanent. Here's the terrifying part. This can happen to anyone, regardless of actual guilt. The Vikings at least had a formal process, evidence, and the ability to defend yourself before the thing. Modern social death can happen based on accusation alone, with no due process, no neutral arbitration. and a mob mentality that rewards the most extreme interpretation of events. And just like the Nightingale, the punishment is often wildly disproportionate to the offense. Small mistakes, old jokes, misunderstood statements, things that should merit correction or apology, instead trigger complete social annihilation and the psychological reality of social death. Here's why both Vikings and modern people fear social death more than physical death. Humans are fundamentally social creatures. Isolation is torture. Studies on solitary confinement show it causes severe psychological damage within weeks. Long-term isolation causes cognitive decline, hallucinations, and permanent personality changes. We are literally not built to exist outside of social connection. The Nightingale experienced something worse than solitary confinement. He could see society, could watch people interacting, trading, living normal lives, but he couldn't participate. He was surrounded by humanity while being fundamentally excluded from it. Modern people experiencing cancel culture describe remarkably similar psychological effects. Severe depression, anxiety, PTSD symptoms, or chose death. The loss of community, purpose, and social identity creates a psychological crisis that rivals any physical trauma. Because being socially dead while physically alive creates a unique form of suffering. You exist in a state of permanent rejection. Every human interaction becomes a reminder that you're worthless. Every former friend who avoids you confirms your lack of value. Every door that closes, every opportunity denied, every whispered conversation that stops when you approach, all of it reinforces the message: you are nothing. The protection strategy. Viking lessons for modern reputation. So how do you protect yourself in a world where social death is one accusation away? The Vikings developed sophisticated strategies, and they're remarkably applicable today. First, build your reputation proactively. Vikings understood that reputation was your most valuable asset. You built it through consistent action over time, keeping your word, standing by your people, demonstrating competence, acting with courage when it mattered. Modern equivalent. Don't wait until crisis to establish who you are. Build a track record of integrity, competence, and value. Create a body of work that speaks for itself. Develop relationships based on demonstrated character, not just convenience. When accusations come, and in the modern world, they might, having years of evidence of who you actually are provides defense. Not perfect defense, but defense. Second, choose your battles and your words carefully. Vikings were extremely conscious of giving offense unnecessarily. Not because they were cowards, but because they understood that every conflict carried reputation risk. Start too many fights, make too many enemies, and eventually you'll face a thing with too many people against you. Modern equivalent. Everything you say publicly is permanent. Every social media post, every email, every recorded statement can be used against you out of context years later. This doesn't mean living in fear or never speaking your mind. It means being strategic. Ask yourself, is this worth the potential reputation cost? Am I willing to defend this statement in the worst possible context? 5 years from now. Third, maintain your inner circle. Vikings understood that while broad reputation mattered, what really kept you alive was your felag, your fellowship, your sworn companions, who would stand with you regardless of what others said. Modern equivalent. Build relationships that aren't conditional on public opinion. People who know you well enough that no accusation can shake their understanding of who you are. People who will stand with you when the mob comes. This is the difference between 10,000 online followers and 3 true friends. The followers will abandon you the moment it's socially costly to support you. The true friends know your actual character and won't be swayed by accusations. Fourth, have a plan for exile. Vikings who thought they might face serious accusations sometimes prepared escape routes. Ships ready to sail, contacts in other lands, resources stashed away. Modern equivalent. Don't make yourself completely dependent on any single platform, employer, or community. Diversify your income sources. Build skills that are valuable, regardless of reputation. Maintain the ability to start over if necessary. This isn't paranoia, it's pragmatism. In a world where reputation can collapse instantly, having a survival plan isn't cynical, it's strategic. Fifth, know when to fight and when to flee. Some Vikings facing unjust accusations would stand and fight their case at the thing, calling witnesses, making arguments, forcing a fair hearing. Others, recognizing they couldn't win, would choose voluntary exile over formal condemnation. Modern equivalent, not every accusation deserves a response. Sometimes the best strategy is dignified silence and moving on. Sometimes you need to fight back with evidence and clear statements. The key is accurately assessing which battles you can win and which will only make things worse. The deeper lesson of why reputation matters. Here's the ultimate truth the Vikings understood. Your reputation is the accumulated record of your choices. It's not some superficial thing. It's not just what people think. It's the social memory of how you've actually behaved over time. Whether you keep your word, whether you stand by your people, whether you face challenges with courage or run when things get hard. In a society without formal institutions, without police or courts or contracts, reputation was the only enforcement mechanism that mattered. Your word had to be your bond, because if it wasn't, you had nothing. We've outsourced a lot of that to institutions, contracts, courts, regulations. But the fundamental truth remains. At the deepest level, society still runs on trust. And trust is built on reputation. When that reputation is destroyed, whether justly or unjustly, you lose access to the social capital that makes life livable. You lose the trust that allows cooperation. You lose the benefit of the doubt in ambiguous situations. You lose the social cushion that catches you when you stumble. You don't cease to exist physically, but you cease to exist socially. And for a social species, that's death. We're living in an era where ancient social dynamics have been supercharged by technology. The mechanisms of social death that took the Vikings months or years to implement can now unfold in hours. A screenshot goes viral. An accusation trends. Within 24 hours, you can lose your job, your platform, your community, your reputation. The mob that would have gathered at the thing now gathers in comment sections, quote tweets, and Reddit threads. And just like the Knittinger, you may find that there's no clear path back, no redemption protocol, no statute of limitations on digital shame. This is the world you're navigating, not the world as you wish it were, the world as it actually is. So build your reputation like a Viking preparing for battle, consciously, strategically, with full awareness that it's your most valuable asset and your greatest vulnerability. Act with integrity, not because you're a good person, but because inconsistency creates vulnerabilities. Keep your word not because it's noble, but because broken promises accumulate into reputation collapse. Stand by your people not just out of loyalty, but because reciprocal relationships are your shield wall against social death. And understand this, in the ancient world and the modern one, social death is real. It's devastating, and it's often worse than the physical kind. Because dying ends your suffering. Being socially dead while physically alive just makes it permanent. The assembly is always watching. The judgment is always one mistake away. Guard your reputation like your life depends on it, because it does. This is just one part of a larger complex system. Some people can't grasp it. Each video builds on the last. If you're serious about mastering pressure, fear, and control, start with what's on screen now and continue. Subscribe if you intend to train your mind. The rest is waiting. Can you handle it?